All right, well, I don't know how anyone can top that, but I think we might be able to rise to the occasion here with our next fireside chat. We have two visionary leaders who are defining what it means to design well-being for the digital age. Joining us, probably doesn't need an introduction, but I'll do it anyway, because I'm reading it on the card, is Dr. Deepak Chopra, who has been a prolific spiritual leader for decades in helping us ground ourselves, find purpose in life, and finding well-being. He's also the co-founder of Cyberhuman AI, which you're going to hear a little bit about. And he's going to be joined by Poonacha Machaiah, his co-founder, and also has been running the Chopra Foundation for the last several years. We've gotten to know Poonacha as we started working on the Global Mental Health Task Force. They're going to talk today about how intentional game design and AI-driven tools can work for everyone, whether you're a developer, a content creator, a gamer, or a parent. So please, it's a special treat for Games for Change. Please welcome Dr. Deepak Chopra and Poonacha Machaiah. Please take a seat. So I am very excited to be leading this conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We love bringing people into our community that aren't from the games industry, because it is so inspiring when people who are so renowned and so respected from outside, from different industries, recognize that what the power of games can have. And it is so inspiring and gratifying, right, to know that people from like yourselves from the field of well-being and wellness and spirituality recognize that games have an important role in the work that you do. Deepak, may I call you Deepak? Thank you. I know that you have been involved with games probably longer than anyone really realizes, but over 2 decades. Right? And it's just so timely that you guys have an amazing new project to talk about today. But before we begin, may I ask you, would you lead us in a short meditation to get everyone in the mood?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do a little intention setting. 1 minute?
Yes, 1 minute.
Or 2 minutes. Okay, so please uncross your legs, close your eyes. Observe your breath. Now bring your awareness into your body. Feel the sensations in your body from the inside out, mostly in the abdomen. Feel your body from the inside out. And as you're feeling your body, just seed the intention. Joyful, energetic body, mentally, without any movement of your lips or your tongue. Joyful, energetic body, a few times. Now bring your awareness to your heart, middle of your chest. See if you can sense your heartbeat and the movement of your lungs. And now seed the intention, loving, compassionate heart. Loving, compassionate heart, few times. Now bring your attention to your third eye between your eyebrows. And seed the intention, quiet, creative mind. Quiet, creative mind. And finally, expand your awareness beyond the boundaries of your skin. Let it flow across the fabric of space and time, outside your body. Expand your awareness across the fabric of space and time. And the intention, lightness of spirit, lightness of being, lighter than the wind, light as space. Now, relax into your body, and you can open your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very special, and I will say that was a first in our 22-year history to have a meditation. Maybe we should start it every morning. So let's get to the conversation. So Deepak, as I mentioned, that you released, if I'm correct, you released a game over 20 years ago.
It was before its time. Yeah, and then another one 10 years ago.
And another one 10 years ago. What is it about games that attract you to this format as a medium?
You know, in Eastern wisdom traditions and yogic traditions, your brain, and now we know that scientifically, your brain, which is basically your conscious mind, is just a sliver of experience. So most of what's happening in your body is not controlled by the conscious brain. It's controlled by the autonomic nervous system. So you can say the autonomic nervous system is basically your, in Western terms, subconscious mind, but in Eastern terms, supraconscious mind, because it's monitoring what's happening in your body and what's happening around your environment. And so we don't use these words in English, Ida, Pingala, Sushumna Nadi, but they basically refer to the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And it's monitoring right now everything that's happening in your body and in your environment. And it's without your conscious effort, it's controlling your heart rate, your stress responses, your heart rate variability, the size of your pupils, blood pressure, electrolyte balance, everything is being controlled without your effort, because this part of your nervous system is doing it. Sympathetic and parasympathetic, they dance together. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for what we call the fight or flight response. And today, because there's this perception that we have of threat, you know, always in a hurry, rushing around, bad news, stock market, war, and concerns about climate change, and also, you know, just the regular stresses of life, our sympathetic nervous system is on overdrive, okay? So it's producing lots of adrenaline, which causes inflammation, which is the #1 cause of all disease. #1 causes inflammation, and then also causes cardiovascular damage, basically. Adrenaline and cortisol. Cortisol also damages your immune system. So this is what's happening in the world right now, sympathetic overdrive. There's another part of your system, autonomic nervous system, which is called the parasympathetic nervous system. And there's one nerve there called the vagus nerve. Think of it as the vagabond nerve. It's the longest nerve in our body. And it travels from the brain to your eyes, to your facial muscles, influences the tone of your voice, your breathing, your heart rate, your digestion, and all that. So this nerve, or the parasympathetic nervous system, is called the rest and rejuvenate system. And those of you who practice yoga or breathing techniques or singing will know that when you smile, you feel better. With certain eye movements, you can tell a person's mood, the tone of their voice, gestures, facial expressions, body language. posture, all reflect what's your mood right now. If you activate this part of the nervous system, then instead of adrenaline and cortisol, you produce things like cholecystokinin, which helps digestion, oxytocin, which puts you in a good, loving mood, also other things like acetylcholine and somatostatin, which is an anti-inflammatory hormone, and a little bit of dopamine. And all these different chemicals, different from cortisol, they actually have an anti-inflammatory effect, but also slow down the experience of time, slow down everything. So gaming is a very effective way, in my view, to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And so this is a new era. Instead of using pharmaceuticals, using digiceuticals and metaceuticals. Metaceuticals is what gaming is about. Digiceuticals is emoticons that help you elevate your mood. So, depending on emoticons, I can send you, love emoticon, or you can get a dopamine hit with an emoticon too. But gaming is metaceuticals. You can actually activate different parts of the vagus nerve. And this is a revolution, I think, in gaming for healing our wounded soul, if you will.
You mentioned about the effects of the vagus nerve or the parasympathetic. I might have gotten it a little off in the jargon, but about the slowing down of time. And I think that's something that the game developers, and designers in the room can appreciate. And when your player is so engrossed in what they're doing and the balance of the gameplay is right, we call it, flow. Right? So getting to that place of flow is, I think, and part of what you're talking about, right? You just lose sense of what else is happening because you're so in the moment, but in a very calm and connected and intentional way.
Athletes, when they're in peak performance, they say that they almost have out-of-body experience, time slows down, and they can't hear the sounds. So everything is in slow motion, and there's no subject-object split. So, the dancer and the dance become one. The sport and the sports person become one. And that's the effect of music also has that effect. Now, you can have a flow state with high adrenaline, or you can have a flow state with high acetylcholine, which is the opposite hormone. It slows everything down. And according to yogic traditions, how we age depends on how we experience time. So if you're constantly running out of time, if that's your internal dialogue, I don't have time, I'm running out of time, then everything speeds up. Your heart rate speeds up, your platelets get jittery with lots of adrenaline, and then, if you suddenly have a heart attack, then you run out of time. So never use that phrase, I don't have time.
Okay, write that down. Poonacha, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because you've been working, I don't know if you were involved with that game 10 years ago with...
Not 10 years ago.
Yeah, no. But obviously the two of you have been continued in working in gaming. What do you feel like, what does it mean today then, the opportunities with gaming to engage with people and offer these pathways to wellness?
Yeah, thank you, Susanna. First of all, I think I want to acknowledge the work you're doing at Games for Change. I think I'm part of the Global Mental Health Task Force, which is the reason why we met. And I think Donetta, Laurie Meadoff, and Amir Dosal, maybe in the audience here, I think it's really important work which we are kind of championing as part of the UN SDG, supporting that initiative. But if I step back to the why, right? We talk about the silent pandemic. The silent pandemic is mental health, right? Every 40 seconds, we lose someone to suicide globally. Those are stats we just throw out. We just kind of go numb to it. And you say, in this great country, every 12 minutes, 22 veterans die every day by suicide, right? And then we look at the US, New York, one of the loneliest cities in the world. And loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. The Surgeon General mentioned that. So when we looked at this, how do we look at mental health? When during the pandemic, we actually deployed a chatbot, PV, We deployed a chatbot thinking like, you know what, let's put a chatbot, maybe 20,000 people will use it. We had 15 million messages exchanged on the platform, 5 million minutes of conversation, and 4,800 suicidal ideation interventions on a simple text-based chatbot. We realized a lot of the gaming community and the younger audience were on it, and they were more comfortable talking to a chatbot because they felt they were not being judged. So that became the reason why we started looking at gaming from our perspective. Because one of the things which we look at from Deepak's perspective is how do we reach critical mass for a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. So we had to democratize access to knowledge and information. So the people who needed it most, I was at NFT NYC yesterday, Web3 crypto users. That's why we launched meditation with Web3. And that's why we said, let's look at gaming. And Deepak mentioned, when you're playing a game, you are in a state of flow. You feel selfless, you feel timeless, you feel effortless, and there's richness of experience. Yeah. So you are actually in a flow state. Also, gamers are very open to share information. So they're constantly talking, they're talking on the phone, they're talking in the headset. My son was a gamer, League of Legends, during the pandemic. I realized that's what really helped him connect with people.
Yep.
And when you look at what happens in a game, and this is what we're looking at, you have a camera on, so it understands your pupil dilation, it knows your capillary blood flow. You technically look at how you're sweating. You can now look at basically, when you're speaking, your valence of your voice. The game developer, the platform, is actually the best position to look at anxiety. And then maybe do a funny feed or do something. So that really started a premise of looking at gaming companies, not to change the game mechanics, but maybe changing the loading screen. Maybe between game levels, insert a breath work and do these micro habits. And that could really, so we didn't want to go back and change Call of Duty or change League of Legends, but maybe between the levels, if you do this one particular boost, you could actually do it. And that really became our premise. And I'm actually very happy to share some stats because I know if the Sandbox team is over here, Seb and Amit, maybe they're here in the audience, maybe they're not. But we actually deployed a game over the week, over the last 3 months, and we have more than 200,000 minutes on the platform, right? Which is over 3,000 hours, called a meditation oasis. We had gamers go on meditation quests. 91% of them completed the quest. Average time doing meditation, 8.2 minutes. So this really showed those 200,000 minutes were minutes where we helped gamers breathe or just be in that state. So I think that is a good example of how we are conscious about game design. Then we can truly look at changing the narrative of why games are good. Like Deepak said, there is a future where when you go into the physician, they'll say, are you anxious? Go to this metaverse, and your avatar can talk to a mental health therapist and then have this conversation on anxiety, whatever you're having, not being judged. LGBTQ kids, if their parents don't agree, are four times more higher of suicidal ideation. You know what? We need the metaverse as a therapeutic. And that's where I think we are very optimistic about game design.
Well, we're thrilled you're here. I'm really thrilled that this is a space that you want to be active in, whether it's through the Mental Health Task Force, the original games that you're getting involved in. But there's also another way into this, which is related to our work, is AI. And I know both of you have been very invested in developing opportunities to leverage AI to serve people. And I'm curious, again, like what drew you to that, and where do you see your role in AI?
When you go first, I'll go after you, Deepak. And by the time, maybe I'll get your AI to connect, if I can connect the Wi-Fi.
So AI is just the beginning right now. But, we now know that if you're mindfully aware of sound or sensation or any of the 5 senses, or if you have the ability to observe your thoughts, if you have the ability to navigate what's happening inside your body, that's interoceptive techniques. These are all very well-known techniques in yogic tradition. They not only do secrete the hormones I mentioned, by the way, the GLP-1 also goes up with parasympathetic activation now that everybody is talking about GLP. And GLP-1 has other effects like satiety and hunger satisfaction, etc. So what happens is these hormones, they're also immunomodulators. That means they modulate your immune system. If your immune system is hyperactive, people say, I want a very strong immune system. Well, if it's too strong, you'll get autoimmune illness, or you'll get asthma, or you'll get allergies. If your immune system is under-responsive, then you're at risk for cancer or infections. So you don't want an overactive immune system, you don't want an underactive, you want a fine-tuned immune system. And that's what gaming can help you do, by the way, with metaceuticals. It's a revolution in healing and understanding how the body heals by itself. Now with AI, what you can do is you can, at least my AI, if you try it.
I'm going to do it right after you finish.
Okay, with AI you can ask, you go to my AI, deepakchopra.ai, you can ask any question that is of concern to you. I'm having jet lag, can you give me a meditation? I haven't slept in the last 3 days, can you help me sleep with a meditation? Or I'm having a problem with relationships, whatever. Anything to do with health, longevity, health span, or spiritual intelligence, asking deeper questions. What's my identity? What do I want? What's my purpose? What am I grateful for? These things actually not only activate your healing, but they elevate you. So, our body has what we call the fight-flight response, then it has what we call the reactive response, the restful awareness response, intuitive response, creative response, visionary response, sacred response. All these responses can be activated through intentional meditation. So that's what my AI does. But as we expand AI to these devices, I forgot to wear mine this morning. I got in late last night at 3 o'clock from Aspen, so I was rushing this morning. But if you wear any of these devices, then you can see that you can directly intervene in real time. So I did a program many years ago with Fitbit, and we actually had people in real time, they're feeling stressed, they're driving, they can't meditate obviously while they're driving, but they can certainly put awareness, use awareness techniques or breathing techniques, and we could see in real time that heart rate was going down, heart rate variability was changing, the skin resistance was changing, stress was dropping, and presumably then the immunomodulation was occurring. Now as we move further into this with VR, with XR, with MR, with immersive experiences, life is an immersive experience. This is what's happening right now. You're in an immersive experience. But imagine expanding the immersion of experience in the direction of healing instead of in the direction of inflammation.
That's great. And I love the fact that AR, MR, XR, and VR came out of your mouth. That is music to my ears. It's amazing.
I think just to add to the AI side is that, so one of the things we looked at, how do we democratize, right? So I think it's great when you live in New York, you have access to a lot of things, but our goal with AI is to make sure that AI can be a health coach, which is Deepak's AI. And I'm going to ask the question I asked was that, how do you think games can help well-being, right? Yes. This is AI, his answers. Let me see if it plays out.
Contribute to well-being. They offer an opportunity to enter a state of focused play where the mind is fully engaged and present. This immersive experience can provide a respite from the stresses of everyday life, allowing us to reconnect with a childlike sense of wonder and joy. When we play, especially in a non-competitive and relaxed manner, it mirrors a form of meditation. The mind becomes absorbed in the moment, enabling a release of tension and fostering creativity.
So
this state of flow, where time
so I'm going to just pause this.
Can be deeply nourishing.
So what we did over here, two things, and it's really important. One is because what we've done with AI, we've taken 95 plus books of Deepak, thousands of hours of videos, and then kind of understood how does he deliver this content, right? There is a certain cadence, there's a certain balance, and there is a certain amount. Then we added his voice because now it established trust. So one of the things important when we look at gaming or AI is how do you build trust? So when you say a neuroendocrinologist, Dr. Deepak Chopra is giving you this advice, you give trust. So one area where we're focusing on Deepak Chopra AI is to really democratize well-being. So if you're a game developer today, you can actually call into the Deepak Chopra AI, a web call. You can say, you know what, just give me a meditation. Or, you know, I'm feeling anxious, just help me right now. And that's why we integrated it. But where we are taking this to is that the second thing which Deepak mentioned is, we talked about athletes are peak performance, but for everybody, peak living. And our tagline is the wisdom of age and the biology of youth. How do you age with grace? So at 55, I still want to do the things I want to do. I don't want to reverse age. I want to have the biology which helps me do the things I need to do. So this is where we are now taking agentic AI. So we have Dr. Deepak Chopra's AI focused on well-being. We have Dr. Ash Tiwari from Mount Sinai looking at men's health. We have women's health. We have cognitive health, Rudy Tanzi, cellular performance. And now what you can have is a bunch of AI agents working together to optimize your peak living. So Susanna, you can go back and say, you know what? At 65, I want to be able to still hike around in France and do da-da-da-da. And now 24/7, you have an AI agent in your pocket. And that's what we believe it'll democratize access to healthcare and well-being and preventive health.
I'd like to just clarify, I'm not 65.
No.
But when I'm 65.
When you say, yeah, when?
I'm 78, by the way.
Oh my God.
Okay. And, you know, right, I trained as a medical doctor and I still am. I have my license to practice in many states. But in medicine, we give the same drug for the same diagnosis, irrespective of whether you are a woman or a man,
Okay,
you're black or white, it doesn't matter. You have one prescription, suits all. Well, it doesn't work that way. You know, every treatment has to be personalized based on your biometrics. So the future of well-being is not only personalized, it's preventive, it's participatory, it has a process. But the most interesting thing is that less than 2% of disease, now we know, is genetically determined with mutations that are fully predictable. 2% only. The rest is epigenetic, which means, you know, how you think, how you feel, how you speak, what you eat, exercise. We have 11 pillars of well-being that we focus on. And then each of these pillars applies to you in a very personal manner. There's nobody in the world who has the exact biometrics, you know, the exact chronological age, the exact biological age, the exact psychological or emotional age, or what we call timeless mind, which is the spiritual mind. So, you know, when we personalize this based on your metrics, then it becomes a very interesting and fun thing to do, actually.
So is this something that anyone can come in and explore?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Deepak Chopra AI is deepakchopra.ai. Go check it out. It's web-based. Anybody can go in. And we have done something very interesting is that we also put a very transaction-based pricing where it could be for 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. Because, you know, if you're looking at somebody just has one question, why do I need to go through a subscription? What do I need to do? So we're trying to make it truly democratized. And I think, but once again, we just launched a collaboration called A.B. Chopra, Augustina's Bardo, and Deepak Chopra.
Oh, very good.
This is actually in London. We just at Vogue. And that's where we're going to take an entire health plan. So what Deepak said, genome, epigenome, microbiome, exposome, the environment, and your lifestyle. So what we're creating is what we call life event ontology. Life is a series of events, and your body keeps score. Right? If you could go back and figure out what happened when, and if you could replay it back like a rewind button, you would understand what exactly happened. And today, I think in human history, we're at a very unique point where we can actually do it. And that's really where we are focused on. But a question I had, maybe Deepak and for Susanna, is that actually I was thinking about this as you were speaking. Your granddaughter is also a gamer. How do parents help? How do we always say people don't change because of motivation, it's about inspiration? How can parents understand their children better when it comes to gaming?
I think we need to educate the parents.
Yes, we do.
Kids are not going to stop gaming. I mean, that's the most prevalent activity today. And once a technology comes, it doesn't go back. Once a child is born, it can't go back to the womb. And what makes us human is a few things. We speak narrative language. We create models, scientific and philosophical models. We have a quest for spirituality. We wear clothes and we walk upright. But the most important thing about humans is we are tool makers. Even in the Stone Age, we had tools, okay? If we hadn't discovered fire, you wouldn't have the brain you have. Because we discovered fire, we cooked food, our brain evolved in a totally different way. If we hadn't discovered fire, we wouldn't have the steam engine. If you didn't have the steam engine, you wouldn't have the industrial age, you wouldn't have the age of technology, you wouldn't have AI. So it's all connected to our inheritance. We are tool makers. AI is the latest tool. Between the ages of 1887, 1903, humans came up with the light bulb, the automobile, aviation, and the telephone. So if you were deserted on an island, 1885, and you came back in 2005, you wouldn't recognize New York City. When you left, horses and carriages were dung on the streets, and now these carriages and people speaking on phones. That was a leapfrogging in our social and cultural evolution. We're in the midst of that with AI right now. Social and cultural leapfrog, but also biological leapfrog, because our neural networks and our gene activity is changing as we have new experiences in the metaverse.
Amazing, amazing. And I know what we've been talking a lot about is how to help, how to bring information to parents. Right, about their children's gaming interest and better understand it. And as I mentioned in my opening remarks, we have a program called Raising Good Gamers, which is focusing on parents, and we think there's an opportunity there.
I think, though, with the team, the work we're doing in the Global Mental Health Task Force, with such a diverse team, we have people in the WHO, we have also World Economic Forum, you guys. I think the goal, it takes a village to bring up a child, right? Where is the village today? And I think even with Raising Good Gamers is about the village. I think we have diverse ideas of people coming together to create an ecosystem where we can truly help the child and the parent come together. And we have to use AI because that's why we went the AI route. Because what we have seen, or even over the last 5 years, we've been doing this, actually probably more than 5 years with Digital Deepak, much more than that. We have actually seen that AI is inevitable to really have a narrative and conversation. Today, I think, look at ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. It's in our daily lives. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, you won't have a question. You're going to go and ask ChatGPT. The question is, how do you kind of make a conscious platform on it? So I think as we build this platform, we need to create more diverse voices, more women in the workforce, DEI, all of that, which I think is going to be important for creating conscious gaming and AI.
Well, I love the fact that you ended the session with the title of Conscious Gaming. You guys are pros, and honestly, I could sit here all day and talk to you. But we have the rest of the day of programs. But I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a real honor. So everyone, please.
Thank you.
Fascinating.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, you can make a show. All right.